Hi children and hi everyone. In previous video we discussed about the dipole, couple acting on a dipole in an uniform electric field. In this video I am going to explain one most important topic for IP examinations and for other competitive exams also. This is a very important topic, that is Gauss law and its importance. Gauss law and its importance, and how we can derive the Coulomb's law from Gauss law. So in this video you are going to learn these two important things: what is Gauss law and what is its importance, and how we can derive the Coulomb's law from Gauss law. So before going to that, you must know about these three things about the distribution of charge. Distribution of charge. If you know about the distribution of charge, then we can go for the Gauss law. So generally here, the charge what we supplied, the charge should be accumulates on the surface. The additional charge what we are giving to the conductors, that should be incident on the surfaces. On that surface, how the charge is distributed. So the charge distribution should be in three ways. The distribution of charge should be in three ways. First thing is here, linear charge distribution, and next thing is surface charge distribution, and third one is volume charge distribution. Volume charge distribution. The distribution of charge should be along the surface, the top surface of the body should be in three ways: linear charge distribution, surface charge distribution, and volume charge distribution. For example, here now I am taking, this is a conductor. This is what? Conductor, and the length of the conductor is, we are taken, that is L. In that length of the conductor, we are selected some particular portion. We are taken this portion. The complete length is L. In that I am selecting here, that is a small element of length, that should be here dl. The charge available on the entire conductor should be taken as Q. If we can consider the charge available on this particular element is dq, then here we are writing linear charge. Linear means what? Nothing but line. Nothing but line. The charge distributed along the length of the conductor is called linear charge density. The available of charge along the length of the conductor is called linear charge density or linear charge distribution. So simply here I am writing linear charge density should be shown by lambda is equals to dq by dl, or d lambda is equals to dq by dl. If you can consider for entire conductor, we can write q by l. Lambda is equals to q by l. This is the linear charge distribution or linear charge density. The charge which can be distributed along the length of the conductor is called linear charge density, and if you can consider small portion of the conductor along its length, that should be mentioned dl. On that particular element some charge is there, that should be mentioned as dq. Then what do you write? Lambda is equals to q by l for small element, d lambda is equals to dq by l. In the same manner, now charge density, surface charge density or surface charge distribution. Now we are taken, now this is a one particular surface, and that surface should be divided into like this number of parts. Now I am taking, this is a ds. Clear? This is what surface area is, or it is ds. The total is what? S. Here surface charge distribution is nothing but the charge can be distributed along the surface. It is called surface charge distribution. Here surface charge density means the charge available in particular surface area. The charge available in particular surface area is called surface charge density. So here I am writing now, this is a small surface element of surface area, that is ds, and for that some charge is there. Here I am writing now here d sigma is equals to dq by ds. dq by ds. D sigma is equals to dq by ds. So now here for entire surface what we write? Sigma is equals to q by s. Sigma is equals to q by s. Here sigma is called as surface charge density. Surface charge density. Similarly here now volume charge distribution or volume, for example now this is we have taken one surface, that should be having some volume V. That should be having some volume V. In that surface in that volume we are taking small element. Now its volume is delta V. Delta V. Then the available of charge on that one is what? dq. And here also same thing. For this surface what do you have? Charge dq. And for this length what do you have? dq. So now in this case, here volume charge distribution nothing but it is what? The charge should be distributed in particular volume. In particular volume. Clear? Now volume charge density, that means the volume which is available, the surface, the charge which is available in particular volume is called volume charge density. So now here this is the dq and its volume is dv. Then I am writing here d rho is equals to dq by dv. d rho is equals to dq by dv. And now for total entire volume we will take rho is equals to q by v. Rho is equals to q by v. That means in conductors the charge should be explained, distribution should be explained on the basis of, first thing is linear charge density, next thing is what? Surface charge density, and third one is volume or cubical charge density. The charge which is available along the length, that is what we call linear charge density. And the charge which can be available in particular surface, that should be what we call surface charge density. And the charge which is available in particular volume is called volume charge density. The distribution of charge should be explained like this. And now here you have to observe the units now. Linear charge density, what you have? Lambda is equals to q by L. Lambda is equals to q by L. Then what is q? Q is the charge. And what is L? Length. That's what you write, coulomb per meter. Coulomb per meter is the unit for linear charge density. And now here sigma is equals to what? Q by S. Here sigma is what? Surface charge density. S is the area and Q is the charge. Now unit is what? Coulomb per meter square. Coulomb per meter square. And now rho is equals to q by v. Here rho is the volume charge density and q by v. V means what? Volume. Volume unit is what? Meter cube. And q is what? Charge. Then what do you get? Coulomb per meter cube. So these are the units for linear charge density, surface charge density, and volume charge density. The charge can be distributed on a conductor should be explained in these terms. Clear? Linear charge density, surface charge density, and volume charge density. Clear? Now I am going to the main topic here, children. So this is a very important for IP examinations also. So that's why you have to watch this video without skipping. That much of important topic, children. Don't neglect while you are watching. Clear, children? What is Gauss law? What is Gauss law? That's the question here. Gauss law is the Gauss law is applicable for the closed surfaces. Closed surfaces. I made one video regarding the electric flux. In that I explained how we can explain about the flux for the closed surfaces. So you must watch it. Electric flux in a closed surface. How we can show the flux for the arbitrary surfaces. So now here, for example, Gauss law is nothing but it is pi is equals to q by epsilon naught. Pi is equals to q by epsilon naught, and pi also written as like this: integral closed integral E dot ds is equals to q by epsilon naught. This is called the Gauss law. What's that? Gauss law. The total flux through a closed surface is divided by the net charge with epsilon naught. Simply I am writing now pi is equals to closed integral E dot ds is equals to 1 by epsilon naught into q. That means here what is pi flux? Here we are taking surface is the closed surface. On the integral we have some circularity is there. Circularity is there. That means what? That will shows the it's a closed surface. The flux passes through a closed surface is 1 by epsilon naught times of the net charge of the same closed surface. Is called Gauss law. Gauss law is applicable to the closed surface only. Clear? The amount of flux passes through a closed surface is 1 by epsilon naught times of net charge of the surface. Here we are taking this is a closed surface. For the surface net charge is what it is? Q. And what is epsilon naught? Permittivity in free space. The amount of flux is 1 by epsilon naught times of net charge. That should be what we call Gauss law. Clear? The net flux passes through the closed surface is 1 by epsilon naught times of net charge. So generally we know that how we can write the net charge by additive property. In a surface we have, now this is a surfaces, we have some charges q1, q2, q3 and q4. q1, q2, simply here this is the q1 and this is the q2 and this is q3 and this is the q4. Then net charge what you write? According to additive property what you write? q1 plus q2 plus q3 plus q4. So the algebraic sum of net charges. Algebraic sum of net charges. Simply here from this formula what you write? Pi is equals to q by epsilon naught. Pi is equals to q by epsilon naught. Here when the value of, simply here I am writing now pi is equals to q by epsilon naught. The flux is depend upon what? Pi is proportional to q. Clear? The flux passes through the, very simple children, this is the closed surface and this is the q. Q means what? Net charge. Here epsilon naught is the permittivity of free space, it is a constant. Then what do you write? Pi is proportional to q. What do you write? Pi is proportional to q. The electric flux passes through the closed surfaces depends upon what? The amount of net charge of the closed surface. If the net flux here pi is equals to q by epsilon naught is there, if q value is 0, flux is 0. Here q value is net charge is 0, then flux also 0. If q is positive, flux is positive, and q is negative, flux is negative. So that's why here this is what we call just statement of the Gauss law. What is that? The amount of net flux passes through a closed surface is 1 by epsilon naught of the net charge. The amount of flux passes through a closed surface is 1 by epsilon naught of net charge of the same closed surface. So this is what we call Gauss law. Here pi is equals to q by epsilon naught. That pi should be written as pi is equals to integral E dot ds. Integral E dot ds. So here this is the formula for flux. Integral E dot ds. Integral E dot ds is the flux for an arbitrary surface. I already explained in previous videos. Just watch it again. So now here the Gauss law should be how we can explain with one example. Let's see here. For example, we are taking now, this is a one closed surface. What is that? This is the one closed surface. This is the center. This is the center. At that center, some positive charge Q is there. Positive charge Q is there, and that should be at a distance of R. At a distance of R. Now here I am selecting. This is the surface area ds. Clear? Symbol. This is a closed surface of surface area S. At its center, what you have? Q charge is there. And on surface of the sphere or Gaussian surface. Here Gaussian surface means for which surface? For which closed surface we are going to explain the flux. That should be called Gaussian surface. That's why here in this case I am taking now this is a closed surface. For that closed surface we will call as that is Gaussian surface. Clear? So here we are selected, this is a small element ds. Here the electric field intensity is in this direction and ds also in same direction. ds also in same direction. Very good, very simple children. Look here, I am drawing the diagram very big size. Here now this is the center of the closed sphere. There is some charge is there on that surface of this closed surface. We are selecting some area, that is ds. Here this is what? ds. This is the area ds, and from charge to the element A surface is what it is? Distance is r. At this surface the electric field is in this direction and ds also in same direction. Clear? So same diagram here it is there. So we know that we have some expression is there. I explained in one of the video, I think second video or third video, electric field intensity due to a point charge. Electric field intensity due to a point charge. So for that we have one equation is there. E is equals to 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught q by r square. The electric field intensity due to a point. So that's why here now this is the point we are selected. This is the point. The point is I am taking that is P. At this point, electric field intensity and ds both are in same direction, radially outwards. So when we will take some plus q value, the electric field intensity is radially outwards. That's why I am showing now here is the direction, and the small element area surface is what it is? ds. Both are in same direction, and now here this is the distance is what? r. Now I am writing now electric field intensity due to a point P. The electric field intensity due to a point P can be written as E is equals to 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught q by, here how much distance there? r square. That's why here E is equals to 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught q by r square. Now this is equation number 1. Got children? I am writing at this point the electric field intensity should be written as E is equals to 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught q by r square. That should be taken as equation number 1. Clear? Now in this case, generally how we can write flux? flux passing through small surface ds, small surface ds can be written as d pi is equals to E into ds. What's that? D pi is equals to E into ds. Now this is the equation number 2. Here what is ds? The small surface element what we are taking, that is ds. On that ds, how much flux is there? How much flux is passing? D pi. So here this is the small elemental ds. Through that, how much flux is passing? D pi. So to get the entire surface area, we have to integrate the equation. Got children? Very simple ma. This is the one sphere, Gaussian sphere, Gaussian surface. We are taking now, this is the one small elemental surface, that is how much? ds. Through that some flux is passes. How much it is? D pi. How much it is? D pi. So surface area is ds and flux is d pi. If you want to explain the same flux through the entire surface, we have to integrate on both sides. Now flux through entire surface, what it is? S is that we have to integrate on both sides. Integral d pi is equals to integral, what you take? This is the closed integral, E dot ds. So here these two cancel. What you get? Pi is equals to closed integral E dot A dot B means what? Mod A mod B cos theta. Mod A mod B cos theta. That's why here I am writing EDS cos theta. What is that? EDS cos theta. And now in this case what I am telling, E and ds both are in same direction. When both are in same direction, both vectors should be here parallel vectors. When they are in parallel, the angle should be 0. Here both are in same direction. That's why here I am taking now theta is equals to 0. When theta is equals to 0, what do you write? Cos 0 is 1. That's why here I am writing now closed integral E ds cos 0. Cos 0 means what? 1. Cos 0 value is 1. Children, then what we get now here? Pi is equals to integral E ds we can have. This value is 1. In this case E dot ds, now eds. So from that I am writing now pi is equals to E value is constant, here we are writing ds. Here what is S? S is nothing but surface area of the Gaussian surface. What is S? Surface area. And now how the surface is there? Closed surface. That means nothing but closed, and it is a spherical surface. What is the surface area of the spherical sphere? 4 pi r square. Clear children? And now here I am writing pi is equals to E into S. E into S. These two should be cancelled. Then what do you get? Pi is equals to, what do you get? Pi is equals to E into S. Here what do you write? E into 4 pi r square. What is that? Pi is equals to E into 4 pi r square. Now here what do you write? Since S is the surface area of the sphere. S is what? Surface area of the sphere. Then pi is equals to E into 4 pi r square. Then here what is the value of E? 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught q by r square. 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught q by r square. Then here I am writing pi is equals to, substitute this value, 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught. 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught q by r square. Q by r square into 4 pi r square. r square cancel, 4 pi cancel, then what you have, pi is equals to q by epsilon naught. This is what, pi is equals to q by epsilon naught. This is what, yes, this is nothing but Gauss law, Gauss's law. The amount of flux passes through a closed surface is 1 by epsilon naught times of net charge of the closed surface. So this is the children Gauss law explanation. Very simple. See once again how the Gauss law should be explained. The Gauss law is nothing but here the amount of flux passes through a closed surface is 1 by epsilon naught times of the net charge of the same surface. That should be, we have to derive now. For that we are taken one closed sphere or closed surface. Closed surface. So I told you the surface, for which surface we have to explain the flux, that surface should be called as Gaussian surface. The Gaussian surface may be in any shape, it is independent of shape, it must be closed. It must be Gaussian surface, always must be closed surface, but it is in any shape. Clear? But in this case we are taking now, this is a spherical Gaussian surface of surface area S. In that, at the center we can imagine that there is some charge q is there. Q is there. From the charge q at the distance of r, one small elemental surface we are selected, that is ds. In that element, here small surface element, it is what, ds. In that we are selected one point, that point is what, p. That is the point p here. Now at this point electric field intensity and ds both are in same direction. Both are in same direction. That's why we will take the angle is 0. At this point the electric field intensity can be written as E is equals to 1 by 4 pi epsilon q by r square, equation number 1. Now we want to find out the flux passes through the small surface area ds, that should be expressed as d pi is equals to E into ds. This is the flux belongs to ds only. If you want to get the more flux for the surface area S, we have to integrate on both sides. Now what we get, integral d pi is equals to closed integral. On integration we have some circle symbol is there. That means what? Here this circle represents the surface is closed. Closed integral E dot ds. Here E dot ds, it is nothing but here A dot b is equals to AB cos theta. Like that we are writing pi is, here we will get pi value, pi is equals to EDS cos theta, and in this case theta is nothing but angle between E and ds, both are parallel. That's why here what we write, theta is equals to 0. Then what we get, pi is equals to closed integral E dot ds. So after that E value is constant because E is equals to 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught. In that 1 by 4 pi is constant, epsilon naught is constant, q also constant, and r also constant. That's why E is constant. Then we have to do integration for only s. Now integral differentiation both should be cancelled. Then what do you have, s. Pi is equals to E into s. E into s. Here s is what, surface area of the sphere. Here S is what, surface area of the sphere. Surface area of the sphere is nothing but 4 pi r square. Then in this case, instead of S, what you have to write, 4 pi r square. Then pi is equals to E into 4 pi r square. From that, here E value already is there. That should be taken as equation number 1. You have to substitute the equation number 1 here. Then what we get, pi is equals to q by epsilon naught. Clear? So this is about the Gauss law. And now I am going for importance of Gauss law. Here the Gauss law is very easy to find out the actually Coulomb's law and electric field intensity equations we are explained that belongs to particular point charges. At particular one place only they explain electric field force, repulsive or attractive force should be explained there only. in Gauss law explained about the distribution of charges and how much flux is passed through the closed surface. The first thing is Gauss law explained about the flux for a closed surface clearly, and now the flux is depend upon the amount of net charge, clear. And second thing is, to explain the Gauss law, we are taking the closed surfaces. Those closed surface should be taken as the Gaussian surfaces. The Gaussian surfaces are independent of shape. That means they may be in any shape. Clear? And next thing is here, the Gauss law is applicable for the uniform charge distribution. If the same charge is distributed throughout the surface, then we can easily find out the flux, amount of flux passed through the closed surface. And here one diagram it is there. Look at here. Now already we are taken like this. This is the closed surface we are taken. That closed surface should be divided into number of concentric circles. That means already it is there. That should be split into like this. We are taking so many circles, concentric circles. Then the flux passes through the every surface is same. In this diagram, you have S1, S2, S3 are there. These are the S1 is the surface area of the first circle, and S2 is the surface area of the second circle. That means here, even though they have different circles, but the amount of flux passes through the same through the every concentric circle, because that should be depend upon the Q only. And next thing is here, look here now. In the second diagram, look at this diagram. Here this is a closed sphere, this is a Gaussian surface. In that Gaussian surface, Q1, Q2 and Q3 and Q4 and so on, Qn. Here Q1, Q2, Q3, Q4, Qn inside the surface, and similarly Q1 dash, Q2 dash and Q dash n. Then when we are taking some Gaussian surface, in that figure some charges are inside the Gaussian surface and some charges are outside the Gaussian surface. In this case, the flux is through only because of the flux through the surface, because of only the charges which are inside the surface. Here, for example, I am writing now there what it is. Here I am writing, according to Gauss law, I have written pi is equals to q by epsilon naught. Inside what you have, Q1, Q2, Q3 and Q4 and so on like that. That's why here I am writing pi 1. Pi 1 is nothing but here Q by or Q1 by epsilon naught. What's that? Pi 1 is equals to Q1 by epsilon naught. Here what is Q1? Sum of the all individual charges in the surface. That means Q1 is equals to Q1 plus, Q2 plus, Q3 plus and so on, Q4 like that. Then what do you write? This is Q1 by epsilon naught. Similarly, the flux through the flux because of charges which are outside. That's why I write here Q1 dash by epsilon naught. Now the total flux can be written as pi 1 plus pi 2. That is nothing but here Q1 by epsilon naught plus Q1 dash by epsilon naught. That is equals to, finally we will get Q1 by epsilon naught. That means this value is 0. That means the flux through the any surface only because of the charges which are inside. So children, this is about the distribution of charges or a conductor and Gauss law and its importance. And now in this case here we have one topic is left remaining there. What's that? Just wait. What is Coulomb's law? The amount of force between two charges. The force of attraction or repulsion between two charges is directly proportional to the product of their charges and inversely proportional to the square of the distance between the two charges. That is what we call Coulomb's law. Now here Coulomb's law can be derived. Coulomb's law can be derived. Coulomb's law can be derived from Gauss law. So how we can derive that? Just see here. So again, same example, children. Now I am going to discuss about the Coulomb's law can be derived from the Gauss law. Again, I am taking same example. This is the one Gaussian surface, closed Gaussian surface, and at the center what you have, charge will be there. Clear, children? And distance is what here, r. And this is what, same element ds. At this point the electric field intensity is in this direction, and ds also in the same direction. This is what, point P. Clear? Same example what I explained previously, same thing. At that point what you have, electric field intensity is very simple, children. We are taking now, this is the one Gaussian surface of surface area S. At the center what you have, some charge q is there. At the distance of r we select one point P. That point is where small surface area ds. And at the point P what you say, ds and E both are in same direction. So for that already I explained same thing here. E is equals to 1 by 4 pi epsilon q by r square. That is the electric field intensity at that point P. Now flux passes through this one. D pi is equals to E into ds. I already explained same thing here. Then what we did? Pi is equals to E into ds and pi is equals to E into s. So then here again what write? E means what? Electric field intensity. Clear? I am writing now. Pi is equals to E into s. What is the value? 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught q by r square into s. Clear? So in this case I am writing pi is equals to 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught q by r square. Clear, children? So in this case what is the pi value? What is the pi value? See again. So d pi is equals to E into ds. Then here what you write simply, after integrating what you get? E into s. Then pi is equals to what? Generally according to Gauss law what you write? According to Gauss law what you write? Q by epsilon naught is equals to E into 4 pi r square. Clear? E into 4 pi r square. Clear? So from that I am writing E is equals to what to write? 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught into q by r square. Yes? What it is? Equation number 1. That only we have to prove now. E is equals to 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught q by r square. Already is equation number 1. How it should become like this? The flux passes through the small ds is what? D pi is equals to E into ds. and this is the flux passed through the small element area ds. Now what do you write? D pi is equals to E into d dot ds. That means what? D pi is equals to EDS cos theta. EDS cos theta. Already I told you for entire thing what you have to do, integration on both sides. Then what do you write? EDS cos theta. Here cos theta value is 1 because both are in same direction. Then what do you get? Pi is equals to E into S like this. Then what do you get? Pi is equals to E into S. S value is what? 4 pi r square. And according to Gauss law, what do you write? Here pi is equals to E into S. According to Gauss law, pi is equals to what, right? Q by epsilon naught. Pi is equals to Q by, then substitute here. Q by epsilon naught is equals to E into S. Here what is the S? Surface area of the Gaussian surface. Then what is sphere? That's why 4 pi r square. Q by epsilon naught is equals to E into S. S means what? 4 pi r square. 4 pi r square. Then from that, what do you write? E is equals to 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught into Q by r square. This is the electric field intensity at the point P. So that only equation number 1. Clear? That means we will derive like that only. So now this is the twist here. At that point, already here what I am telling, this is the small area element ds. Small element area ds. At that point P, if you can keep like Q naught. Clear? What is meant by electric field intensity definition? The force experienced by a charge when it is placed in charge of field of another charge. Clear? The electric field intensity is nothing but the force experienced by the charge. The force experienced by the charge when it is placed in an electric field of charge of other one. For example, here this is the surface we have taken. In that some charge is there. That is what? Q. In that electric field, this is the electric field of this Q. In that we are giving here now Q naught. At the point P, we are keeping now unit positive charge. Unit positive charge. When the unit positive charge should be kept there, obviously that should be influenced by the Q. That's why we will write the electric field intensity on that one. What do you write? E is equals to F by Q naught. What do you write? E is equals to F by Q naught. Clear? If we can keep Q naught at the point P, then the electric field intensity there, what is that? E is equals to F by Q naught. Already what you have? E is equals to 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught Q by r square. Then we substitute this value in that one. Then what, right? F by Q naught is equals to 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught Q by r square. Now I am bringing Q to that side. Then what we will get? F is equals to 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught Q naught by r square. So this is what? Coulomb's law. That is what? Coulomb's law. Clear? F is equals to 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught Q naught by r square. This is what we call Coulomb's law. In this way, we can derive the Coulomb's law by using Gauss law. Clear? See once again, simply I will explain you. We are taken now, this is a one closed surface area S, and it is a Gaussian surface, and in the middle what you have, q charge is there, and that's why here at the point we are taking P, that should be on ds. At this point E and ds are in same direction, and P be the point, and that point the distance of r. Then the electric field intensity, that point should be taken as E is equals to 1 by 4 pi epsilon q by r square, equation number 1. Let us check whether it is right or wrong. For that, the flux passes through the small ds. How we can write? D pi is equals to E into Ts. Here nothing but E dot ds. We have to read E dot ds. So E dot ds nothing but A dot b, like mod A mod b cos theta, like that. Here d pi is equals to E ds cos theta. Now here this is the for small surface area ds. We want to get the total surface. That's why here we have to integrate on both sides. Here E ds cos theta. Cos theta value is 1 because E dot ds means what? E dot ds means what? E ds cos theta. Cos theta value is cos 0. Cos 0 is 1 means what? 1. That's why I get Es. Here pi is equals to E into S. E into S. Already what is pi? Flux. According to Gauss law, what is flux? Pi is equals to q by epsilon naught. Then q by epsilon is equals to E into S. S is the surface area of the sphere, 4 pi r square. Then q by epsilon is equals to E into 4 pi r square. Then what you get? E is equals to 1 by 4 pi epsilon q by r square. That is the equation number 2. In this way we will get the electric field intensity to a point. So now if we can keep some q naught charge at this point, then on that some force is there, we will write E is equals to F by q naught. We have to substitute this value there, then what do you get? F by q naught is equals to 1 by 4 pi epsilon q by r square. Then F is equals to 1 by 4 pi epsilon q naught by r square. This is nothing but what? Coulomb's inverse square law. In this way what you have to say? Gauss law is obeys the inverse square law also. It is depend upon the 1 by r square inverse law. Okay, that's why in this way we can say that the Gauss law is also having some inverse proportionality rule, and in this way we can derive the Coulomb's law from Gauss law. Children, I hope you understand. So you must watch the video without skipping, then you obviously, of course, you maybe easily understand the topic. That's why I am explaining very basic level. So I hope you understand. If you can understand this topic, like and share and comment the video and subscribe my channel for latest notifications. Bye children. We will meet in the next video with another application of Gauss law. Bye. Take care.